I'm Nana.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
We're watching Rezero 1x16.
Yeah.
Last episode was crazy.
Last episode, we looked like we saw a ghost.
That we did. Seriously though, I think the best episode of Rezero that we've seen, in my opinion, easily.
It was definitely very twisted.
It's so good.
For lack of a better word.
It made me feel so much.
Honestly, I agree with that. So this is all like having been removed from watching last episode. If you would ask me like right after I watched last episode, if I thought it was like super fun times and really great, I probably would have been like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But right now, having been removed from last episode, I'm like,
so good.
Yay, another episode of ReZero.
I hope we don't have to see Betelgeuse' face this episode, because that's terrifying.
We're gonna have to,
we're
right?
Probably going to.
Yeah.
Also,
I really don't want to deal with that guy anymore.
No.
Yeah. I can't stand the creepy, unhinged, eccentric villains. Crawling under my skin. It is probably one of the most terrifying things to me, that type of villain. And that is probably why he's perfect.
Yeah.
Don't want to see him again. It's
maybe
like
see some of the other fingers.
Some of the other fingers.
You brought it up in the discussion, but very interesting. He like almost mistook Subaru for Pride. And will we get confirmation that big fluffy boy who killed Subaru last episode was in fact Puck? Because it sounded like him, and I think it was. And he had whiskers. And
if he has whiskers,
has to be Puck.
He's the culprit.
That's true. They say that.
They do.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
My energy is too like happy and excited right now, and I feel like the fall of devastation is going to hurt more because of that.
Picking up after the after credit. Treasurer of the Merchants Guild. That's a fake name.
Bad guy. Wilhelm, do you like the look in his eyes now?
Oh god. Fair enough.
Honesty.
So interesting, we still haven't seen his face.
If she dies, everything ends anyway. Isn't something he can give, right?
Oh, what a shot.
Sensed.
Holy shit.
K の行いの源泉はそれか。言ったはずだぞ、夏木すばる。他者は欺けない。 は一度も助けたいと口にしていない。人間が嘘をついているかどうか、おおよそ見事で他者に欺かれる経験がないことが自慢。経験を踏まえて言わせてもらえば、K は嘘を言ってはいない。それはもはや狂気の沙汰。夏希する。
Madness. Outside of madness.
直してやるといい。
いらねえよ。
ズバル君のお話が本当なら猶予も。
本当なら
Oof.
猶予もありません。ズバル様のお屋敷に戻りますか？
戻っても大したことはできない。バールは何してやがんだよ。
ロズワール様は関係者のところを訪問することになっていて。
Oh, that on purpose.
俺が襲撃に対処できない原因なのか。もう連れて戻らなきゃどうにもならねえな。ラインハルトなら力を貸してくれるんじゃねえのか。
ご挨拶の折にご不在だとおっしゃっていました。
Damn it.
明日他の協力者を探すしかない。俺はあと一人の候補者に当たってみる。
面白いな貴様。までくればゲイとして極まったものじゃな。
何が面白いんだ。
なりふり構わずは考えが足りなすぎる。窮地に追いやり敵に利する。死んだ方がいくらかマシだ。叩き落としてやってもよいぞ。持って行動する貴様の忠義だけは見上げ、機会を与える。
機械
Okay.
機会じゃチャンスという。やめろ。床に這いつくばり、戸をかみしめて無様な野獣のように、いる赤子のようにわらわの足をなできれば貴様の提案を考えてやる。わらわにとっては一興よ。
Entertain me. You're gonna have to do it. Not that she'd let him.
本当に貴様男でしかないようじゃな。忠義でも忠誠心でもない。もっと薄汚い犬のような依存と豚のような怠惰な豚め。豚の欲望が
Only how to what?
あのような畜生を要する陣営などわらわが撃ち滅ぼしてやる。
Holy shit.
軽率な行いと態度がわらわにそう決意。
おいおい、これはどうした。
な愚物を放り出せ。なんなら切り捨て。
ほら、行くぜ兄弟。可愛い顔は凶暴さで価値を落とすぜ。
顔をより破壊してほしくないならとっとと
Ruined face.
ナッツな。
He's saying the wrong thing for each doing the wrong thing for each of these candidates, it
何の
seems.
話してたんだか知らねえけど、戻るのが遅えとよぶった切れとか言い出しかねねえから戻るぜ。じゃな、兄弟。
His sword looked cool.
But that anger from her was like next level.
But also forgetting that I saved her. That wasn't what happened.
お兄さんすごいだそう。大丈夫？お兄さん口だけじゃなくて鼻血タバタバ出た？追い出したらあかんよ。確かエミリアの騎士夏希スバルか。やないの。
アナスタシア法人。
He's talking a little bit like he was a couple episodes ago, which isn't good, right?
それで勇者のことだけど。
早速本題に入ろうと優先やと相手は喜ばんよ。どんだけ相手の懐に入れるか。
悪いけど本当に困ってるんだよ。だから
情に訴えかけるもうち下作中の下作やね。
Damn, what a line.
頑張りは認めようか。で勇者を確保するんはだいぶ骨やしね。買い集めたとかで勇者が残ってるはずのお店の場所とこれで都合つけられる。
言うなよ。
もったいぶるよ。やって世間話に付き合ってほしいだけ。
Listen that.
で、得るものなんてないだろう。
なんてこの世のどこにもないとうちは思うとるよ。こんな着想が得られるかなんてわからんもん。耳もっと食べたい。頼んでいい？好きなだけ食べ。でお口汚すんはダメ。ぐしゅぐしゅ拭いて。言ってくれ。でもあの子うちの紙幣団の2番手なんやろ。
Damn.
紙幣だ。
新商会の専属の傭兵団。
Iron
Iron
Fang.
Fang.
めちゃめちゃ可愛いや。ともうたまらへん。
Subaru's like, Army?
このオートも最近が前と違うやろ。夏希くんは気づくが動けば人が動く。人が動けば物が動く。いろいろと物の価値が変動してるんやけど、保されるんは鉄製品。武器がオートの内外から集められてるよ。
Damn.
Oh, that's not a good sign. It's like if rebellions if the wrong candidates picked.
もよう知ってるお人やよ。クルシュ・カルステン公爵。
クルシュがひっきりなしに来客があったが、王か。ラッセルって男が顔を見せてたのもそう。
ラッセルフェロー。大物やね。あ、まあ参考になったかな。
Getting
あ
intel.
りがとうな、夏樹くん。あれしてクルシュさんとこ出たんが昨日の夜やろ。目も表情もいろんなところが滑らせやしたんよ。
You can't like confront her where you are right now.
No, you cannot.
自分の正しさを信じてもらいたいなら、相応のものを見せなあかん。変えるには別の評価で覆す以外に、評価を決めるんはそれまでの行い。何をどうしても過去は変わらん。だからうちの評価も変わらんまま。ことは絶対に消えてなくならんよ。
Things you've done won't ever go away.
お兄さん、お嬢にそれ耳超強いから。
I believe it.
夏樹くんも何もできひんはずやから。
There's nothing Natsuki can do.
報われんな。
Julius's efforts.
バカはしいひんのやね。耳行くよ。交渉の秘訣は交渉のテーブルに着く前にどれだけ準備でき。
How
自分が知って
prepared you are before you come to the table.
ぶら下げるばっかりの夏樹くんに足らんのは。
All you do is want.
It's basically what happened with the last two.
Jesus Christ.
How did he not realize?
Right? They're all wearing the same outfits.
お兄さん、またね。バイバイ。
Has Rem found anybody?
何かあった。
何帰るんだ。戻ってエミリアやラムを連れ出す。ローズワールが出かけてる先でもいい。時間がない。すぐにでも出よう。今のペースなら朝には屋敷に着ける。そうすればエミリアたちを連れ出し。
You were right. We were gonna see him again.
お前時期外して在庫にした油をあげるんじゃねえか。
ご利用いただければというよりはないわけではありませんが、ちょっとヘマをやらかしてしまいまして、血が微妙な油を大量にかかる。
Can we use it?
Bomb.
オートに行ってもこの油を全部。そしたら僕は破産です。
おっと、話。お前の勇者に積んでる。
Negotiations, but knowing what the person wants.
Yeah.
足を貸してくれ。金で売ってくれるやつは全員俺に代わる。運ぶのは人だ。
人売買は勘弁ですよ。
そんなサイドビジャース寮の屋敷近くに村がある。血を乗っけて移動させたいんだ。
お礼は来ていただきます。
Hell yeah. I was like worried about the money aspect of things, but Rem's got it covered. Always.
No more questions about human trafficking, though? It's fueled his spirits.
Hell yeah.
残りの
これが。ってこの暗さじゃ。
スバル君、それって。
失われたロストテクノロジーの携帯電話だ。で助かったって言うべきか。これ見てみ。
何ですかそれ。
見たことない結晶灯だな。
少し走った先にフリューゲルの大樹が見える。
フリューゲルの大樹。
リーフハウス街道の真ん中にそうなでっかい木です。
I don't have good feelings.
フリューゲルって賢者が植えたって。
Flugel.
こらすげえとしか。バンダナのおっさんどこ行った。さか大樹に見とれてはぐれたんじゃねえだろうな。
ああ、夏樹さん。
お前らの仲間どこ行ったまでこっち側走ってた。バンダナの渋い旦那は。
He's a part of the cult.
反対側なんて誰も走っていませんでしたよ。
Okay, that was Rezero, Season 1, Episode 16. My guess at the moment to what this is the white whale, or the great whale.
White whale.
White whale, that was referenced a few episodes ago when we were first trying to take a carriage that ended with us meeting Otto.
Yeah, it was the first time that we did this whole let's go to the mansion thing.
Yeah.
And
so do you think in this life Rem isn't aware that the whale's around?
We left early.
Okay.
We left early this time. I think it's like 2 days before the initial attack happens that we're leaving now in this episode. And when we got it previously, even the merchants knew about the white whale by that time. And Krush was saying that there was trouble going on in that area. So we definitely are encountering, which is sad because none of those merchants would have been in that area unless Subaru was like, I'm going to pay for all of you to come get these villagers out of this village.
That could lead them to die.
Yeah.
Wait.
Where they would have not been there and they would have gone to the nearest town maybe the next night.
Which is really interesting to think about because it like definitely fits into Subaru's current character that he wouldn't have remembered this and the reason for them not doing this and putting him and other people into danger.
And I to go along with that, the first time that Rem mentions the white whale when she's saying why it's going to take longer for their trip, he doesn't ask any questions. He doesn't ask, what is the white whale? You know?
Yeah.
Like, don't you think you would ask that question? Like, but he's, at that time, and still now, very tunnel visioned.
Yeah.
And so, to not even remember or think, like, he went into this life of this episode divulging information of this, which is cult attack, but he doesn't give all of the details. He's so focused on like what actually happens at the mansion and in the village itself that he doesn't think about the other things that are brewing, which we get this idea in this episode of things brewing already by when Rem goes to talk to the Capitol guards. They're like, we've already been hearing suspicious anonymous tips, which makes you think like, isn't that such a clever like thing for the witches cult to do, which is like purposefully plant fake non-trustworthy tips at the time that they're going to be attacking.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so early on in the episode we got Subaru and talking to Krush basically agree to Krush's like, okay, the only way I'd consider this is if you can guarantee me that Amelia would step down. Mm-hmm. And what did you think about like Subaru's, it wasn't like first like, okay, yes, whatever, but like his attempt at agreeing to that? Because on one hand it's like, okay, yes, the point does exist that if she's dead anyway, right, then she wouldn't be running. But on another hand, it's making that decision for Amelia again.
Mm-hmm. And how Krush works and how she worked in the episodes that we've had with her recently is she gives you information. She's very purposeful with how she speaks to you, almost a helpful hand of like how you should navigate a conversation with her where she can actually politically help you. And here, what she's basically saying is that, Subaru, you're asking for a big thing, and you need to, like, say something to me that will be the perfect thing. The thing that I cannot deny, or I could look past, you know, what trouble might come afterward. She brings up, what about afterward?
Yeah.
And so she's really kind of nudging him here, like, hey, like, well, could you promise me that Amelia wouldn't run anymore? Like, she's trying to plant in him that he needs to offer something. There needs to be a reason that because she has a point, like, this is not her domain, these are not her people, they are Roswell and Amelia's to take care of. And so she would need, because she has her own, like, people, her own constituents, basically, that she needs to be looking out for and thinking of. And if she's going to use her resources, her armies, herself, her physical being that could be hurt,
yeah,
there needs to be something, especially afterward when people are like looking back at this situation, like other people, like they talk about each other, they're behind each other's backs. It needs to look impressive. Like Krush wasn't a softie. I think we get the line about sentimentality is not how to reach out to these people. If Krush did something that looked sentimental, it would not bode well for how other people would look at Krush.
No.
And so she's very like, and I think with Priscilla's reaction to Subaru too, it was like, you're not saying the right thing, and that's frustrating me. Like, it's almost like I want to do something or I want to care, but you are not giving me the breathing room or the opening to do so.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing myself to help you with what you want. Like, you're not giving me anything in return. If anything, afterwards, there will be issues that I have to clean up. And
it again goes back to the nature of the show that I'm left with like we're given so many details and specific instances and what these characters are saying to Subaru. It's like, oh, with the ability that Subaru has, if you went about it the right way, then maybe they're giving you some sort of opening that if you were able to redo this interaction with, you know, new information, you might be able to get their help. But they don't give us that iteration of the story, and they give us so many different ends that could be the case, and it's like, it's so wild, like, because I don't know what's going to happen because of it. They don't just take the first opportunity to change shit, you know?
And we don't necessarily know as a viewer what exactly Subaru could even offer these people, and Krush specifically, because I think Krush is like the person that I think is the most convincible, like the most that Subaru could convince to help. I think Krush is that person, especially in this episode where we get this like idea that Krush is like building their military power and collecting a lot of iron and preparing for war. That gives me the idea that a lot of strong fighters, a lot of really capable army. So, but they don't give us anything in this episode other than Anastasia. What she would want is information, which she gets it, and that's why she's willing to give Subaru the name of someone who has ground dragons. Yeah,
that's true. Before we talk about Anastasia, right? I wanted to go to like timestamp. It's like 10:10 or 10:15, during the foot scene. This is gonna go down in infamy. Like Death Note had the chip scene, Rezero has the foot scene. Yeah. But I liked this line that she said, just in terms of like the writing behind it. I love all of the candidates' different ways of speaking. Each of them sounds so different, yet so similar in the vein of like royalty that they're like, or the royal atmosphere that they're presenting.
But also very similar in what they're dissing Subaru about.
Yeah.
What they're saying he's not showing or doing.
Yeah.
Like, this line goes that you're about to read, because you haven't read it yet, which I forgot about when I just said that, so you should go ahead and say it.
What you just displayed was neither loyalty nor devotion. It's something more filthy, like a dog's dependence or a pig's greed. You lazy pig who knows only what he wants. A pig's greed is the ugliest thing there is. Like, that sense of greed, you know?
It brings me back to when Krush is like, I really like Krush as a character. Krush was like, I can tell you're not lying.
But
you didn't bring up wanting to save Amelia.
Once.
At all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe that's the nugget that she put in there that he can use in this in a next retry, is the fact that it almost was like she wanted him to bring up wanting to save Amelia.
It's like,
or wanting him to want to do it for the sake of someone else and like show that. But I mean, he's wanting to save a bunch of people from dying. But there's something there with her being like, you didn't bring her up once.
It goes back to that like sense of greed, right? It's like, I don't think Krush would have acted much differently if he did bring up the Amelia thing.
Because I don't know what he can offer her. I don't know. Yeah. I have no guesses of what exactly he could say to change that situation.
I think it's really important to note that he didn't, like, that wasn't the first thing he said. We need to save Amelia. It was more towards the hatred of these people, which I think goes back to what Amelia was saying. Like, are you doing this for her? Or are you doing this for yourself? Like focusing so much.
That was a revenge thing there.
Yeah, focusing so much on the killing of the cult and these members is more about, like, sure, by doing it, you would be saving Amelia, but it's not the first like thing that comes out of your mouth.
And then Krush brings up this idea that Subaru went and got close to Amelia purely to get close to what he wants to get revenge on, which we know is what Roswaal is doing.
Yeah.
But we get that idea here of, like, you haven't brought her up once. There's this glint in your eye, like murderous intent.
Yeah.
And it's like, who would find that attractive to be having a conversation with an individual that is just screaming over and over again how they want to kill people? Yeah. I don't think anyone would really like want to stay in that conversation or want to listen to what that person says. And she even says that he sounds mad.
Yeah.
Like madness, which we have, that is a reference to the title of last episode where Betel Guys is like, you're not truly mad, you're faking it kind of thing.
When we were in like the inn with Rem before we met Anastasia, we were talking about like, oh, we need to find somebody to help, right? Or it was way earlier in the episode, but when we were talking about when we needed to find somebody to help us, and before they brought up Reinhard, I was like, okay, I don't know if Reinhard would help right off the bat. I hope he would, but I don't know. That being said, if you were like, yo, Felt, come with me, and then because you're with me, Reinhard has to protect you, that could be an interesting route to go down.
I do like, if honestly, that's why they made Reinhard be gone.
Yeah.
Because they knew, the person that wrote this knew that if Felt and Reinhard were in town this day, Felt probably would have run away just to go with Subaru somewhere.
Yeah. Also, quick note that I wrote down was that Priscilla's animation on her face when she was like so disgusted and everything was fantastic. Mm-hmm. I thought it was fabulous. It was so good. And then Al, like, it was so well done. And then Al's whole sequence, like, we're getting introduced to, like, Al, Mimi, this army that Anastasia has, right? Like,
she brings up Julius and is like, his efforts on you went to waste.
Yeah. But it's like we're bringing up all these, like, different potential powerful keys and, like, weapons to potentially have to help us, but
allies
none of them
that
are
would
there.
Be good to have.
Yeah. Really interesting. At 1702, after we've like met Mimi and Anastasia and the whole interaction went down, when she's leaving, she says the key to negotiation is how prepared you are before you come to the table. I love it because like it's exactly what she did, right? It's exactly what her moves were, and all of this was like pre-planned to get as much information as she could get out of Subaru.
And you know what this line actually also like means or represents? We've been talking about it for the last couple episodes of how this ability is something that can be helpful and can be something that Subaru can utilize and be impressive if he is strategic with how he handles things.
Yeah.
And he's not just fueled by these emotions and just running into things. You know, if he's actually strategic with how he tries to gather information and how he tries to move about things, he has a little more care in these lives and how things are going. And it actually represents that care, because we know that we've had lines from him about like not wanting to waste a life. And recently it's just like he's not even thinking. Like the fact that we just talked about how he doesn't even remember about the white whale.
Yeah.
He's not thinking. He is wasting these lives because he's not actually like observing and remembering and staying open and staying fluid and flexible and trying to stay as level-headed as possible, be strategic with this power. And when she's like that, so that's what she's saying there is like, you gotta, for these negotiations, so going into next episode, be strategic with this next life after this white whale kills you, which I'm assuming is going to be what happens.
I don't know, genuinely.
Do you get eaten by the white whale and end up in its stomach?
And stay alive.
And then stay alive for a very long time.
Biblical. One thing that I was super interested why they brought it up again this episode was the phone. Like, I was like, but why? Right?
So maybe you could scare off, honestly, why bring up the phone like this and that has a little bit more battery left if we're not going to use it to fight the whale?
I think like how I first took it was like another of the many things that we have been shown in the past few episodes, and that's just these like different cards that or chess pieces that we could choose to play with, even if it doesn't seem like
Which
we
goes
are.
to the strategy element. Like there's a lot of ways and paths and people that you can utilize. We have all these powerful players, as you said, that could be utilized if negotiated with properly.
I wonder if Krush would be a big fan of the phone, and that's what could be given to her. I don't know, but we were told that it was called a crystal light from one of the people here, but that is different than the
That was
Metia.
the bandana guy that apparently doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. But the media or media that we had the term for that kind of thing previously, that wasn't what was used here. Crystal light, is that because it like illuminated the area? So crystal light, or is that just a different term for something that's akin to media or
I think
media?
he was asking if it was a weird version of a crystal light, which must be something that is illuminating.
Gotcha. We also were told about Flugel, who planted a tree.
Yeah.
That's pretty
must
cool.
Be significant. I mean, it is a big tree, and the big tree is a giant landmark marker that the white whale, that's where he is, like a little pinpoint on a map, like white whale right by this big tree.
Shouldn't go there.
Do not go there.
What's the plan with the oil? Like
burn all the cultists down. I don't know.
I wonder what happens if you light that tree on fire. It's like a big like help sign. Or...
maybe a bunch of people would come running. This seems like it's a landmark, like an important landmark. You have all of the candidates and all of their personal firefighting team come to the tree. You lead all of the mages to the tree.
Yeah.
And then boom, you have all the players lined up and they go to war.
Perfect. I do wonder what's going to happen next, though. I have no idea.
I honestly really don't know what could be offered to...
After we get killed by the
after
the
we
whale.
Die by the white whale and whatever digestive fluids and acids and stuff end up killing Subaru in its stomach.
Yeah.
After that...
Then what?
What can be offered to...
I don't know.
I'm saying Krush. What can be offered to Krush? What does Krush want Subaru to say? I feel like maybe if I like analyzed everything Krush has ever said, like really heavy detail for a really long period of time, like took a class on it, then I might be able to come up with my theory of how exactly Subaru could phrase something or what he could offer. But at the moment, I'm like, I processed it, but not to that level of like analyzing ancient texts.
I'm more concerned about Otto and how his businesses will fare in the future.
I mean, honestly, he's like in a really good position right now. Like if he doesn't die here, he's like good. He got all his oil sold.
Hell, Subaru dies. Like, okay, sure. If Subaru dies, his life starts. But theoretically, if this multiverse continues after Subaru's death in like a different like world, right, or a different universe, then in that universe, Otto could come out of this instance with not having to give away any of his oil, have his cart intact, and have the money that Rem gave them. I'm wishing for Otto to have a very successful, fulfilling life.
I also
He's one of my favorite characters.
There's a few more things that I want to bring up. They had Subaru's character specifically had a few moments of regression to some extent of like similar lines that really made me like cringe within myself in the last couple episodes. Like, she forgot how I saved her, you know, about Priscilla. And it's like, I think in the episode you were like, but you didn't really, because like she would have probably been fine if Subaru hadn't run in there. But also like nothing in this world that has no meaning.
Yeah.
And then we also have there's nothing Natsuki Subaru can do.
Yeah. It's like a test. It's like you're pushing buttons because like it's like
everyone's like really good at being mean to him, like really good at saying things that are gonna make him feel hurt or upset or alienated.
One of my last takeaways was like the sense of abandoning. The word was used, pride, for Priscilla and like the licking of her feet, right? Completely like went against the idea of Sloth misidentifying Subaru as Pride. You know, I thought that was interesting language.
Also, like, misidentifying him as Pride when really we're getting everyone calling him Greed in this episode. And I'm like, wow.
Right?
What is happening here with these
biblical
titles?
Sinful,
you know?
Yeah.
These sins.
It's interesting. This whole thing is just like purgatory. This whole thing is just like a redemption of life.
It makes me wonder if we are going to get introduced to the real, like, Greed, one of the fingers, like a different finger than Sloth.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, like, it was so heavily used to describe Subaru by different characters. Like, the word was said so many times. Like, it's literally in the title of the episode. I do wonder if Sloth is the only finger that we are going to have interactions with.
I would like to think that no. We're going to have interactions with more, but I would be extremely curious to see what Subaru's interaction with Greed would even look like.
Or even Pride, if Pride exists.
Yeah. All right. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.